If $1,928 was supposed to make it worth it, it didn't even cover the sound of the handcuffs snapping shut. We were freshmen at Meadow Run State, flat northern Ohio, where the sky looks too big and the wind never stops moving. It was late April, the week of St. Mark's Eve, a night some local superstition claimed you'd see the faces of next year's dead if you stayed up long enough. Not Halloween, no costumes, just a night with a story, the kind that sounded old enough to feel true. There were five of us: me, Matt, Connor, who always took a dare too far, Luis and Ben, who thought everything was funny, and Derek, the loudmouth, the one who thought that responsibility was a brand of beer. Mercy Ridge Hospital sat 3 miles from campus, surrounded by rusted farmland and a collapsing water tower. The new hospital had been built by the highway decades ago, and Mercy Ridge was simply left behind. Doors locked, power cut, everything else left where it was. The beds, the chairs, even the IV stands stood like they were waiting for someone to finish a sentence. We'd been breaking in since winter. Every freshman did it at least once. The fence had a gap wide enough for teenagers to make bad choices. Inside, you could smell the mold and metal long before you hit the main corridor. The air tasted thick, like a basement that had learned how to breathe. The rooms were almost intact. Faded hospital curtains still hung from rails. Paint curled off the walls like old sunburn. A few of the beds still had sheets, stiff and colorless. The place didn't feel haunted. It felt paused. One night in April, Derek decided to up the stakes. "Someone's got to stay the night," he said, leaning back in his dorm chair. "No leaving until morning, full dark to sunrise." Connor, of course, grinned. "I'll do it, for 1,000. Derek laughed. 1,000 for napping? Ben opened Venmo on his phone. Luis threw in a 20. I added 50. By the time we passed the cup around the dorm, we collected an odd total, 1,928. Derek smirked. "Perfect. That's the year the hospital opened. It's destiny." The rules were simple. Connor had to stay in one of the ICU rooms from dusk until dawn. No leaving. We'd leave him food, water, a flashlight, and his phone. If he was still there when we came back, he got the money. The ICU was the worst part of Mercy Ridge. Glass walls with wire embedded inside, peeling paint, water-stained floors. The air there had a colder weight, like it remembered pain. That Friday, we drove out just before sunset. The sky was bruising purple to the west, a storm line crawling in, but not quite there. The fields around the hospital looked silver, as if the grass had given up pretending to be alive. We parked down the hill, hopped the fence, and crossed the cracked parking lot. The hospital's front doors gaped open just enough to slip through. Inside, the smell hit like a wave: wet wood, mildew, the faint tang of rust. Our footsteps echoed down empty halls lined with faded warning signs: isolation, radiology, oxygen storage. Connor carried his backpack with snacks, water, and a portable charger. His flashlight beam cut through the layers of dust that looked like fog. When we reached the ICU corridor, the wind pushed through the broken windows, whispering through hanging wires. The bed we'd picked for him sat in the center of the room. The blanket was gray and stiff, the mattress sunken. The glass walls caught our flashlight beams and threw them back, dull and distorted. Connor stared at the bed. "I hate how it looks when it's waiting." "Good atmosphere," Derek said, pulling out his phone to record. "Documentary footage," Ben joked. Connor sat at the edge of the bed. "So what? I just hang out here until you guys show up?" "Yep, we'll come back at 6 sharp," I said. That's when Derek grinned and pulled something shiny from his hoodie pocket, metal glinting in the light. "Oh, come on," I said immediately. "What?" he said innocently. "This is insurance." Before anyone could stop him, he snapped one cuff to the bed rail and the other around Connor's wrist. One sharp metallic click. Connor yanked back, the chain rattling. "What the hell, man?" "You'll live," Derek said, stepping back. "You bail, you lose the money. Simple math." Louis shook his head. You're such an idiot. But Connor just sighed, testing the chain. Fine, leave it. I'll break it off in the morning and hit you with it. We laughed, half uneasy, half relieved that he wasn't actually mad. He settled into the bed with the blanket pulled up to his waist, the flashlight beside him. Enjoy your warm dorms, gentlemen. I'll text updates so you don't think I chickened out. Deal, he said. We left him there, our footsteps echoing down the hall. The wind moaned through the ducts, doors creaked, and the smell of old disinfectant followed us out. By the time we got back to Derek's apartment, thunder was rumbling far off, low and steady. We cracked beers, turned on a movie, and waited for the first text. At 10:47, he said, still here, this place sucks. At 11:15, something upstairs fell over, loud as hell. At 11:40, this place smells worse when it rains. We laughed. Derek read them out loud, imitating Connor's voice. Then at midnight, door slammed, probably wind. At 12:30, anyone else hearing that? I thought I heard footsteps. Louis frowned. He's screwing with us. Or the wind, Derek said. Same thing. At 1, a short video came through, pitch black, his flashlight beam jittering. You could hear the storm outside, wind moving through the building's hollow lungs. Then Connor's whisper, is it bad out there? None of us laughed this time. Ben said we should go. Derek shook his head. No, he'll milk it. This is what he does. At 1:40, another text. Laughing. I swear I hear laughing in here. Then silence for 20 minutes. At 2:07, someone screamed, not funny. At that point, we called him. Straight to voicemail. Called again, same thing. On the third try, he answered. Static crackled through the line. It's fine, he said, voice shaking, trying to sound steady. Maybe an echo, I think, or maybe some idiots outside. It sounds closer now, though. Do you want us to come get you? I asked. He hesitated. I want my wrist back, and then he hung up. At 3:03, the final text came through. I saw a shadow inside. Please stop if this is you. We didn't even argue. We grabbed the keys and we went. The storm hit full force on the drive, rain like gravel, wind shoving the car sideways. The road to Mercy Ridge looked like a river of headlights. We parked crooked and ran, flashlights bouncing through sheets of rain in the parking lot. Inside, the noise was alive, metal slamming somewhere deep in the building, water dripping steadily from the ceiling. The corridors echoed with things that could have been thunder or footsteps. Every sound was its own question. We found the ICU wing by memory. A streak on the floor, a dark drag mark, led right past Connor's room. The door was half open, swaying slightly. He was sitting on the bed, pale but awake. His wrist was red where the cuff had rubbed. The blanket wrapped tight around him, eyes fixed on the doorway. When he saw us, his shoulders sagged. You left me here. There were people, he said. What people? I asked. I thought it was the wind at first, he said. Then I heard footsteps. There was talking. A girl screamed. Someone ran past the door. I called out, but nobody answered. Derek tried to laugh it off, but it came out wrong. Yeah, the storm messes with acoustics. You heard echoes. Connor didn't answer. He just stared at the hall like he expected it to start again. Then we heard it too. Voices. 2 of them. Faint but real. Hey, someone called. Is there someone in there? We froze. 2 figures appeared at the end of the hall. A guy and a girl, both soaked, both holding flashlights. The boy raised a hand. Hey, sorry, we're from Lakeview Tech, doing a dare thing. Run through the hospital before dawn. We didn't know anyone else was here. The girl nodded. We heard yelling. Thought you were part of it. Behind them, more lights bobbed, 4, maybe 5, laughing, whispering, daring each other forward. And just like that, the whole mystery unraveled. The footsteps, the voices, the scream. It hadn't been ghosts or echoes or any of that. It was just another group of dumb college kids doing their own dare at the same time. Connor laughed once, short and shaky. Lewis uncuffed him. Derek mumbled something about timing. We all stood there for a second, trying to feel relieved and not embarrassed. Outside, the storm had broken into a drizzle. The sky was silver with early light. The parking lot glistened, puddles rippling in the dying wind. We got Connor to the car. Derek handed him the envelope. Deal's a deal, man. Connor looked at it for a long second and then set it on the dashboard. Keep it, he said. No one argued. The drive back was quiet, except for the wipers. The hospital faded into the fog behind us. Later, we found out the Lakeview kids had parked on the opposite side and started their run just before midnight. They dared each other to touch the morgue table and make it back. One of them screamed when a ceiling tile fell and the sound carried through the ducts, bouncing around until it found Connor. That was all it was. Coincidence and bad luck. But we told the story all spring. The storm got worse in every retelling. The noises got louder. The scream lasted longer. By the time finals came around, the version going around campus said he'd seen something in the mirror glass and passed out. None of it true, but it made for a better story. The truth was quieter, which made it worse somehow. By summer, the county welded the gates shut and posted new warning signs. Someone spray painted on the brick, "Not worth it." Every April, when the wind picks up across the empty fields, I think about that night. I think about the ICU room, the bed still sitting there with half a cuff hanging from the rail, the echo of rain on old windows. $1,928 bought us a night of fear and one ugly truth: that horror doesn't need ghosts or monsters. Sometimes it's just people and a laugh at the wrong time and a dare that feels like a joke until it doesn't. And every time I drive past Mercy Ridge, the building still looks half awake, like it remembers us, and it's waiting for the next idiots who think they can spend the night.